Hello and welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the North West.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the programme this evening.
Tonight I'm live in Huyton, a town that's grieving but a town that is celebrating the life of one of its youngest residents. Lexi McDavid's life was truly taken when she was hit by a van just weeks ago, just minutes from where we are here. In a few minutes we'll be talking for the first time to her twin sister Lois and her auntie Kim. Also on the programme tonight.
With more than 30 child casualties on our region's roads every week, how school pupils across the North West are taking the safety message to the streets.
Jail for the police officer who tried to rape a woman he met on a night out.
Raising the flag on a special day, we hear how Silius fell in love with a life in Lancashire despite the Windrush scandal.
What could be more lovely than Port Sunlight in the sunlight, trying out a bit of Britishness on the bowling green.
And along with a dollop of sunshine and blue sky, those temperatures have been rising over the last few days. Could reach 28 tomorrow. Full forecast a little later on.
Yeah, a packed programme for you this evening. But first, that vigil taking place as we come on air tonight for 12-year-old Lexi McDavid. She was killed after being struck by a van when she got off a bus near her home in Huyton on Merseyside.
Shockingly, according to the latest figures, 34 children are killed or injured on our roads in the region every week. Tonight, we're looking at how the road safety charity Break is getting out the message that our roads should be a safe place for all children.
But we start in Huyton, where we join Victoria. And Victoria, for Lexi's family, she was so much more than a statistic.
Well, Gamar, the stories that I've been hearing today about Lexi McDavid tell us that she was a real character. And there is no one better to tell us about her than her auntie Kim, who spent so much time with her. You guys were so close, and her twin sister Lois, who both very bravely agreed to speak to Granada Reports tonight because no one knew Lexi like you guys. What was she like? Because I know she had quite a mischievous sense of humour, Lois.
Yeah, she's amazing. She was funny, kind, smart. Every time anyone's upset, she would just cheer us up, and she was just there for everyone.
And you guys were identical twins, and you had a bit of fun with that, didn't you? I believe.
Yeah. Like when we were in primary, we used to like swap in each other's classes, or like mess around with people and just trick them.
And pretend to be each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that was a lot of fun. And it must have been really, really difficult for you since this has happened. I know you've got a lot of your school friends here behind you, supporting you. How does it feel to see all these people who were here to remember your sister?
It just shows how much Lexi was loved and how precious and kind she was, because all these people showed up just for her.
And what do you think about everything that's happening tonight? I know they've got bracelets with their name on, sweet cones, and so many people are here to support you as well.
I just think it's very thoughtful of them all to just stop what they're doing and take the time to actually do this for us.
Well, I think that is really good of you to talk to us, Lois. Thank you so much. And we'll move now to Auntie Kim. I know that you guys are fundraising at the moment as well for Lexi's funeral costs, and I know you're a little bit off your target at the moment, aren't you? And tonight is partly about helping with that, isn't it? Just tell us.
Yeah, to be honest, we're not who set up the GoFundMe. It was me, cousin on our behalf, obviously with the mum's permission, and just the donations that we've had so far, the support. It's just like so overwhelming. Like we can't like thank everyone enough for doing all of that. But yeah, like it has took a lot of pressure from of Lexi's mum, so it has helped like so much.
And how are you doing?
I mean, as good as cook can be, but life won't be the same without her.
It won't be the same, it won't. Guys, I'd like to thank you so much for talking to us tonight. You've both been incredibly pleased. And I know that we've got a minute's applause now for Lexi, so we'll just leave you with that. And this is her hometown's way of showing her just how special she was.
And that vigil in Huyton tonight comes on the day that school children across the region took to the streets around their schools to raise awareness for the need of greater and more safe journeys.
Yeah, as our correspondent Andy Bonner now reports, Pupils have been learning key road safety messages and calling on grown-ups to make roads safer.
When they're doing below 20, we're going to give them a big thumbs up. Yeah? Can we all
You're
do
never
that?
too young to learn about road safety. From the age of 4, pupils are finding out what we can all do to make our streets less dangerous.
We are an inner city school, which is very, very busy with traffic.
Laura works with children to keep them safe when walking to and from school, but she says drivers can do their bit.
Just make sure that you're aware of your speed, make sure that you're very aware of the children coming to school and leaving school.
Assemblies like this were taking place around the region today to teach youngsters key road safety skills.
Learned about traffic and to be safe with cars and roads.
Do you know how to be safe on the road now?
Yes, I do, because I know all about holding hands and how to cross roads. We've learned the green cross code, which is stop, look, listen, think.
The latest figures are from 2020, when it's thought COVID restrictions led to a reduction in the numbers of children injured or killed. Yet there were still 248 youngsters hurt on the roads in Lancashire, excluding Blackburn. There were 100 casualties in Liverpool, while Cumbria and Manchester both recorded more than 80. The worry is that numbers for after lockdown will rise again. Here in Chester, they have junior safety officers to try to stop an incident here.
Extremely busy because everybody's trying to get to work.
In schools.
Cars everywhere and like loads of...
There's a lot of loud noises.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just gets me like nervous, like, oh, that could happen to me.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the driver's thinking or what they're doing. You just have to be, everyone has to be like aware of what's going on so they can keep everyone around them safe.
We don't want that to happen to one of our pupils or to one of their family members. So we will continue to put that message across very strongly that we need to be very alert and very aware of the safety of all our pupils.
That's it, squeeze that trigger.
Children are being encouraged to ask decision makers to address road dangers. Campaigners say it's every child's right to be able to walk in their community without fear. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Chester.
Well, next, and the shocking case of the serving police officer who tried to rape a woman he met on a night out.
44-year-old Ernesto Serraldi was jailed today. He was a dog handler with Greater Manchester Police. He used photographs of his dog to befriend the woman on a night out in Rossendale. He later attacked her at her home, repeatedly punching and choking her.
Well, a neighbour managed to intervene after Serraldi chased her into the street. Our reporter Anna Yosef was at Preston Crown Court, where the woman's victim impact statement told how she feared for her life.
He was a police officer. I should have been able to trust him. Those are the words of the victim in this case. She'd met Ernesto Serraldi on a night out in Lancashire in April of this year. She described him as pleasant and charming. They'd returned back to her home, and it was there where he viciously assaulted and attempted to rape her. The court heard how she was terrified and thought he was going to kill her. The victim managed to run out of her home, but Serraldi chased after her and continued the attack. A neighbour was alerted to her screams and came to her aid, and Serraldi was arrested a short time later. During his initial police interviews, he denied assaulting the woman and claimed any sexual contact was consensual. He later pleaded guilty to attempted rape and causing actual bodily harm. The defence told the court Serraldi was of previous good character and was ashamed, shocked and devastated by his actions. Serraldi, appearing via video link, was told by the judge he committed a grossly serious set of offences. You placed your hand around her throat and squeezed. She was in genuine fear of her life. He was sentenced to 5 years and 4 months.
Anna Yosef, our reporter there. Staff at Merseyrail, who are members of the Transport Salaried Staff Association, have accepted a pay deal worth 7.1%. The deal was praised by their union, which said it will enable workers to keep up with the cost of living. Merseyrail, which operates lines across Liverpool and Wirral, is not part of the current national rail strike, though its services have still been disrupted.
Meanwhile, rail commuters in the northwest are being warned of further disruption because of the national rail strike. Only 60% of trains are running today. That's due to a delay to the start of services, as signallers and control room staff haven't been working overnight shifts. Staff are due to strike again tomorrow and Saturday in the row over pay and conditions and fears of job cuts.
Well, staying with public transport, bus drivers on Merseyside are going to walk out twice over the next 2 weeks. Union members working for Stagecoach will strike on Thursday the 30th of June and Monday the 4th of July. More than 350 drivers are expected to take part in that action over pay.
The Prime Minister has said attempts to blame Liverpool fans for the disorder at the Champions League final in Paris have been completely debunked. He was answering a question from the Labour MP for Knowsley in Parliament today. Sir George Haworth called on Boris Johnson to make sure French failures in policing the event were roundly condemned.
I think the whole House will have seen how those initial accounts of what took place were completely debunked and proved to be incorrect in respect of the Liverpool fans, and I think it was right that the French authorities and I think UEFA issued a full apology for what took place.
Well, next, it's Windrush Day, the day we celebrate the lives of people from the Caribbean who came to help rebuild this country after the war.
Yeah, many settled right here in the northwest, or so they thought. After years of living and working here, thousands were told they were no longer classed as British citizens.
And despite a compensation scheme for those caught up in the Windrush scandal, almost 95% of people eligible still haven't received any money.
Tasha Kachiri went to meet some of the people affected and found them surprisingly forgiving.
My father and mother were British. I was born British. I came here with a British passport. How can I suddenly not be British anymore?
Arrivals at Tilbury. The Empire Windrush brings to Britain 500 Jamaicans.
Silius is one of thousands of people who answered Britain's call and came from the Caribbean to help rebuild the country after World War II.
What inspired me most was a poster that my grandmother had in her house. And it said, "Britain today is the land of opportunity for youth." The picture and the images I had of England was nothing like what it was in reality.
The 82-year-old came from Dominica to Preston in 1960. While he created a life, the British government changed the rules on who was British. Silius and his wife had to reapply for citizenship.
Whichever way you look at it, it is just hurtful, it's immoral.
Citizens of the British Empire coming to the mother country with good intent.
Now, almost 75 years after the first ship of West Indians on Empire Windrush docked at Tilbury, the celebrations have started. Here in Leyland, they hoisted up the Windrush flag for the second year running outside the Civic Centre.
If we don't see a presence of the Windrush generation, it's like we never existed. But a day like today, we know we were here. It's acknowledging and recognising all those people that came here, not just in 1948, but well before. And we are standing on their shoulders, and that's what that signifies.
Many people from the Windrush generation have suffered greatly. They lost their homes, their livelihoods, and even their lives. Silius was one of the lucky ones, but he says help from the British government isn't coming fast enough.
These people are in their 80s, 90s, they are dying, they are suffering, and the government is drying its feet. It's about time Britain, the government, pay compensation, look after the people, and be the Great Britain that we were brought up to believe and to be proud of.
The compensation scheme has been a controversial topic since it was first announced.
The government expected 15,000 people to apply for compensation. So far, only 20% of that number have, and less than 6% of those who applied actually got any form of compensation.
A Home Office spokesperson said the mistreatment of the Windrush generation by successive governments was completely unacceptable, and the Home Secretary will right those wrongs. They also went on to say the Windrush compensation scheme has paid out more than £40 million to over 1,000 people. Despite all the upset, Silius says coming to the UK was the best decision he's ever made. He regularly sends supplies back to people in Dominica, but Preston is his home.
No regrets whatsoever. They did say on the poster, the land of opportunities for youth. Well, I did, by hard graft, manage to succeed with the opportunities of employment. I've lived a quite fulfilling and satisfied life, thank God.
Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Preston.
And that Windrush compensation scheme has been extended indefinitely by the Home Office. There is more information on our website, the usual address, itv.com/Granada.
Well, on to sport now, and two strikers on their way out of Anfield, Chris.
Yeah, I suppose not a massive shock, this one, but it has been confirmed today that Sadio Mane is moving to Bayern Munich. The fee is around £35 million. The striker had a year left on his contract, but said today the time is right for a new challenge. And Takumi Minamino is leaving Anfield too. He was Liverpool's top goal scorer in the two domestic cup competitions they won last season. Liverpool have agreed a £15 million deal with Monaco. That's more than double what they paid for him 2 years ago. Now, with the Women's European Championships kicking off 2 weeks today, Ella Toone has been taking inspiration from her fans. The Manchester United star, who's from Tyldesley, says she wants to win with England this summer so she can be the football role model that she never had. England's players have been meeting their fans ahead of Friday's friendly against the Netherlands.
Yeah, it's crazy. Obviously, I still find it weird that people want my autograph or a picture or someone's got Toone on the back of the shirt. But yeah, I think it's amazing for me. I love just wanting to be a role model to young girls, and I want them to have someone that they can look up to, because I think a lot of us didn't have that growing up. But it just shows the growth of the game now. So yeah, I just want to be the best that I can for those little girls growing up.
Well, that England game on Friday is live on ITV4. Next to an international cricketer who's joined Lancashire's bid for silverware, Indian all-rounder Washington Sundar will arrive at Emirates Old Trafford next month. Sundar, who's more than 50 Indian Premier League matches already under his belt, will play for Lancashire in the One Day Cup and in the County Championship. Liverpool's former world champion Tony Bellew says without boxing he'd have gone to prison. Bellew, who won the WBC cruiserweight title in 2016, tonight features in an ITV4 documentary about his life. Against all odds looks at his glory both in the ring and on the big screen, but also his less glamorous early years.
A lot of crazy unforeseen things that you wouldn't see in today's world. Things like stolen cars were common things to see. Drug dealers were common people to see. The tough, hard fellas on the street, you would see them all the time because a lot of people were tough. Everyone had a fight. I got expelled for giving someone a hiding. I went a bit too far. I started at the 051 as a glass collector. That was a nightclub. I headbutted someone because he pushed me and thought I was a kid, so I nutted him. The thing that's kept me on the straight and narrow 100% was boxing. I went the same way as my dad. I'd have been locked up.
Looks a fascinating watch, doesn't it? Well, next to the former Super League player finding a new career in superfoods, former Warrington, Lee and Swinton player James Laithwaite was forced to retire from rugby league at the age of 28 after a string of bad injuries. Now he's helping to fuel the next generation of players after setting up a healthy food business with his wife. David Chisnall has been to meet them.
As a professional rugby league player, James Laithwaite played at the very top of the game with Warrington Wolves. But after breaking his leg 4 times, he was forced to retire at the age of just 28.
So what sort of calories would that meal be then?
With his sporting career over, James has now teamed up with his wife Michelle to start a new career in the food industry.
It was all new. We've been learning every single day. At the start, I didn't really know how to send emails or do an invoice, or I didn't even know the difference between gross profit and net profit or anything when we started. So I've been learning every day. How are you in the kitchen? I'm all right. I can do a bit. I'm not. I leave the chefs to do most of the stuff, but I've done every role in the business. I've probably done it throughout the last 3 years, definitely.
Well, since setting up their healthy food business in 2019, James and Michelle have faced plenty of challenges, especially on their opening weekend.
I was 8 months pregnant and we were in the kitchen and the chefs were cooking the meals. I was at the pot wash cooking the meals. Went home that night and waters broke and gave birth the next morning at 4 o'clock. And then James had to leave the delivery room and then go and deliver the meals for the first delivery weekend. So it was all a bit crazy.
Unlike the riches of football's Premier League, most Super League players like James have to keep working once their playing days are over.
A lot of players struggle because it's all they've known. Rugby's been their life since school, and making that transition, it's hard. It's running out in front of 20,000 fans on a Friday night, playing for Warrington against Wigan or St Helens, and then having to go and do a normal day job. I know players struggle.
Well, James and Michelle now employ 15 staff and make 3,000 meals every week, supplying the likes of Warrington as well as Team GB and Blackpool Football Club.
It's been brilliant for us just to have the meals in the fridge on the bus, on the team bus, so as soon as the lads are out of the ground when we're playing away and we're ready to travel home, we can put these meals in the microwave, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, they're ready to go, and we know the lads are getting exactly what they need to help that recovery ready for the next game.
From eating it to making it, Blackpool's Owen Dale and Jordan Gabriel, along with Warrington's Connor Wrench and James Harrison, had their culinary skills put to the test.
I'd give it a 9 out of 10 at least, yeah. I think they've done a good job there. It looks very appetising. It's making me hungry.
A bit bigger portion than we do, but it's nice.
Guys, 9 out of 10. Happy?
Oh yeah, well the only critique being bigger portion. Rugby players aren't we, so we need his calories. So that's why I threw it all.
Small portion for you, normally.
A small portion.
I'm going to give you a 10 out of 10 for that. Brilliant.
Happy with that, guys?
Yeah, I'll take that.
How good are you in the kitchen then?
I'd say I'm alright. A lot of the lads think, oh no, he definitely doesn't cook, but I do.
No, I'm terrible. I'm still living at home, so mummy's boy.
They got a job?
Yeah, maybe. Looking at his chopping skills, I'd give him a job, yeah. Minimum wage to start, but we'll see how we go.
From Super League to Super Food, James has swapped the buzz of being with the ball to the buzz of being the boss. David Chisnell, ITV News, Warrington.
Kind of makes me feel guilty about that takeaway I was going to have tonight.
Thanks, Chris. I'm feeling very hungry now watching that. Now then, if you wanted to show someone from overseas something typically English or typically Northwest, what would it be? Well, the overwhelming nomination so far from you at home on Twitter is a chippy tea, but we reckon that we can do a bit better than that.
Yeah, the good people of Port Sunlight decided it was Crown Green Bowling, and that's what they came up with for a group of people who've recently arrived from war-torn parts of the world.
Yeah, keep your suggestions coming in, please. But before that, Emma Sweeney has been to the Wirral in the sunshine to find out more.
It's the most quintessential of English games, and here in Port Sunlight, they've played Crown Green Bowls for 100 years. Most recently, they've used it to bowl over some of Merseyside's asylum seekers and refugees.
Today I see it's a nice game and I enjoy really. I meet good people.
We came here with the college. It's really good experience for us.
It's nice to try different sports.
It's a session as much about socialising and confidence building as rolling the jack across the green, the idea of communities coming together and a chance for the newcomers who are all learning English at Wirral Met to put their new language skills to the test.
It's really important when you live in a country that all speak in English, you need to improve your English as well, because you need to make more friends, and like anything you do, you need someone to know English, and you need to do this as well.
The initiative is part of a pilot scheme funded by the Liverpool City region. The idea is to provide asylum seekers and refugees with a more fulfilling experience as they adjust to their new lives here in the northwest.
The Liverpool City region decided to invest in test and learn pilots. This is one, and what that means is that we can do things that ordinarily the funding wouldn't cover. And so alongside the English language for speakers of other languages, they choose to go on different trips and visits to explore Liverpool City region to build confidence and learn about our history and heritage, as well as some of the skills you're seeing today, like bowling.
That's the spot. And it seems those passing on those skills got as much out of the session as the students themselves.
I think it's wonderful that these kids have expressed an interest in our culture and our great sport, and I've taken great delight in putting them on the track today, so hopefully taking the sport up and integrating into our community.
Well, on that note, some are already talking about their next game of bowls. There are even whispers they could potentially start a team of their own. Emma Sweeney, ITV News, Port Sunlight.
Love that music.
Well, it looked like a suitably lovely day out, didn't it? So, what would you show someone from abroad that was typically English? The vast majority of replies said a chippy tea. I'd agree. Thank you for those. But Peg says, I have a friend over from Australia at the moment. We've done food like Yorkshire puddings and pasties, plus places like the Lake District, the Mining Museum at Astley, plus old buildings around Bolton.
Ian Challoner tweets a good chippy tea, but with mushy peas, and he says, I'd show them around my city, the beautiful city of Chester, and take them to the Groves for an ice cream. Perfect.
Brian O'Keefe, Sunday lunch in a country pub.
Dave Hunter, Morris dancing.
Phil Cross, it would have to be a local village cricket match. Love that.
Yeah, and Anna Perkins, food-wise, when I lived in France, I used to take crumpets and beans on toast, much the horror of the people I lived with.
Sally says, fish and chips, the seaside, a Sunday roast, full English brekkie in a greasy spoon cafe, and a ride in a black cab.
Can we stop talking about food? Now the weather with Kerry.
That sunshine really made your eyeshadow pop, you know? And you put the wipe in the bin, not the toilet.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Go Egg Queen.
Hello, a very good evening to you, and what a good day weather-wise it was as well. A big thank you to all of you for sharing your photos from across the northwest of the blue sky. Just a little bit of patchy fair weather cloud across the region today, but plenty of sunshine. Granada.weather@itv.com. Now, we got to the mid-20s Celsius today, possibly even higher as we head into tomorrow, but then we do start to see a breakdown. How does the saying go? Make hay while the sun shines? Well, dry June it has been. Very low rainfall, only 30% across the northwest. The average at this time in June would be 66%, so we could do with a little bit of a watering. And you know what? We're going to get it. It stays fairly settled for tomorrow, but there's a risk of some heavy thunderstorms as we head towards the evening, and then low pressure starts to develop to the west, and that's going to bring in fresher air, cloudier skies, and certainly a much higher risk of showers Friday into the weekend. So for this evening, complete contrast, dry, sunny and warm. Just a little bit of cloud cover for the Isle of Man, but here it stays mostly dry, and temperatures actually staying up for many of us overnight tonight, well into double figures, especially for towns and cities. An amazing shot taken last night. A big thank you to Brendan McGee. Noctilucent clouds, night shining clouds. Quite rare, they happen in the summer and only after sunset, and I've popped a bit more information on our website. So tomorrow, glorious from the word go, just a little bit of cloud cover in the north, nudging northwards. Some very hot sunshine for the middle part of the day with light winds, and that could spark off one or two heavy and thundery downpours. Very hit and miss. There is a weather warning just for the very south of our region for the risk of some dangerous driving conditions with surface water spray. A higher risk of some showers pushing in from the south on Friday perhaps, and then it all turns a bit more unsettled from the west into the weekend.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Those eyebrows are unreal.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
So with a higher risk of showers over the coming few days towards the weekend, there is a slight decline in the grass pollen counts across the northwest, staying very high tomorrow, but probably more like high Friday into Saturday. Take care.
A couple of more for your views. Mark Vernon says it would have to be something around Beeston or Peckforton. Overseas friends love castles and panoramic views, then onto the Sandstone Trail to work it off.
And finally, Sam says afternoon tea, a walk in the park, feeding the ducks, finished off, watching bowling, then home to watch Corrie. What a perfect English day. And the bonus would be sunshine, like today's.
Nailed it.
Bye.